The Surgeon General says that loneliness is an epidemic in this country.
Loneliness is a subjective feeling of a lack or loss of companionship.
So there's three different types of loneliness. One is emotional.
That's an absence of meaningful relationships.
Another one is social.
That's a deficit in the quality of your social relationships.
The last one is existential.
That's a feeling of separation from others and the whole wide world.
All of these are very sad, and that in today's world that there should be such a wide range of loneliness. Other types of loneliness are transient.
That would come and go randomly.
Another one is situational.
That is something like you might be lonely at Easter, holidays, Easter, Christmas, a special holiday, or a certain time of the day, 4 o'clock in the afternoon.
Another one is chronic.
That's a continuous feeling of loneliness. Most of the feeling lonely is not the same as being alone. You can be surrounded by a room full of people and be lonely, and you could be home alone and not be lonely. I remember years ago when I was in high school, I lived at home with my 7 siblings, and my sister's boyfriend came over, and I said to him I was lonely. It was a random thought, and he said, how can you possibly ever be lonely living in a family of 10 people? You can't ever be lonely.
That's right. Loneliness is all subjective, and it's really putting things in perspective, your life in perspective.
There are many serious health risks of loneliness. It's as dangerous as smoking 15 cigarettes a day.
There is a rise in early mortality of 26%.
There's a decline in mental health.
When you're lonely, there's a feeling of lack of confidence.
You could have elevated blood pressure, which is a serious health risk.
You could also have poor sleep quality.
There are many symptoms you can look for to see if you might be lonely or if a family member might be lonely.
Mistrust of others.
You might be sedentary, sitting most of the day.
And not feeling like you want to get up or do anything. You're just content sitting on the sofa, watching TV, eating a bag of chips. Sleeping too much or too little could be another symptom of loneliness.
If you're lonely, you might have a poor diet or lifestyle choices. You may be drinking heavily or taking drugs.
This could be serious. 27% of people over 60 live alone.
There are many causes for why people are lonely. Number one is bereavement. You've lost somebody, most likely a spouse or a close family member or friend, and you are very lonely.
You could also be lonely from a loss of network of friends.
You might have retired recently, and if you don't have a plan in place, if you're just at home sitting around, you've lost that social connection of your workplace, you may find that you're very lonely.
You may recently have experienced a change in your living environment.
Or you may have poor physical health. You're now having health issues that prevent you from getting out as much as you used to.
Another symptom could be fear of becoming a burden.
You might have financial difficulties or no longer have transportation. You're unable to drive, or you can no longer afford your insurance as it does go up as people age. Additional signs that you or someone may be lonely include imaginary health issues.
Another sign could be interacting with suspicious people, and that could include answering the phone when it rings, and it could be a spam call, but you're willing to interact with them, and they could be a fraud trying to take your money.
Look in the description for our video on elderly fraud abuse. According to Psychology Today, there are some steps you can take to prevent loneliness. Number one is to step out of your comfort zone.
Another one could be to have meals in the company of others.
Or exercise with other people.
And another possible cure could be social media.
Or join workshops where you'll be meeting other people.
Helping others is another way.
Be sure and go to the doctor on a regular basis so you keep healthy.
And the last resort would be get psychiatric help.
That's if it comes to extremes, you should get professional help. Let's talk about some things that Steve and I do to prevent loneliness. What are we doing, Steve?
We take trips, we hike.
So we have some of the red flags for loneliness because we did move here recently. We are aging. And as so many in America are lonely, it's very easy to fall into that. I know I saw an extra app one day that somebody said, I need a friend. She was maybe 45, 50, and she had maybe 1,000 responses that
Wow.
people said how lonely they were between 40 and 70. And it was all women, and they wanted to get together, and they centered all their get-togethers around alcohol. And I thought about joining, but I'm not drinking anymore. And I thought, well, can't we do something that doesn't involve alcohol? But I was shocked at the number of people who said, I've moved here and don't know anyone. Most of them have moved here and had not made any friends. And they admitted they had no friends.
So that's where social media comes in. And you can meet legitimate people on social media as long as you know where they're coming from, what their motive is.
But that's not always a good response. It's always better to have face-to-face contact. So when Steve and I walk every day, we're sure to say good morning to everyone we see. We wave to the cars, and that gives us a sense of connection to the community.
Absolutely right.
So I always like to talk to people more out and about. At the Daisy Festival, we met a lot of people, didn't we?
And we sure did.
But one day at Costco, we were getting something to eat, and there was only one table left. And as I approached it, a single man approached it at the same time. He was about my age. And I said, hey, you know what? We could share it. I said, my husband will be here in a minute. I wasn't, hitting on him or anything. But it turns out he was pretty lonely. And we had a lengthy conversation about what's going on in the area.
That's very interesting. And it just shows how loneliness can be widespread and how you can help not only yourself, but other people work through loneliness. I don't think you get over it. I think you can work through it. Another thing that we do is our dogs. Ava is a 2-year-old, and then we have Sierra, who's a 12-year-old, and we do a lot with our dogs and walking our dogs, exercising, playing with them in the yard, and it's fun, exciting, and it gives you good parts of the day.
Yeah, pets are a big part of avoiding loneliness. Pets have become huge in the pandemic. People working from home adopted quite a few animals from the animal shelters.
Absolutely. So creating a Zen garden is another way, and we did that, and it's very nice to have different kinds of bushes and flowers, and you watch those, and it's real calming.
It's a nice area just to reflect on your life and relax, and that helps to take away your loneliness when you're connected to nature.
Absolutely. Another thing that we did was start a YouTube channel.
That's sure not to keep you lonely. With all the comments we get, there's a real connection. And we see what's going on in other places. That's fun and interesting too.
Oh, it sure is. And it definitely changes your perspective on the day.
So if you feel lonely, comment to us. But we know as we age, a lot of people are isolated and lonely. That's why social media is good as you age and you are unable to get out of the house as much. I have also reconnected with a lot of extended family members, second cousins, and cousins I haven't seen in years and years, but we either email or text. And that has also helped me to feel connected. And we've talked about family history. And it's interesting, even though they're far, far away and I can't see them, it's been really fun to reconnect with them. So that's one thing I've done. I haven't really reconnected with old friends because they're a little bit harder to find. We've moved around so many times.
Yes, absolutely.
So there's so many things, so many actions you could take, but keeping healthy with exercise and good diet, that's important to help you feel mentally better. Absolutely.
Exercise is great to fill the loneliness void. It's also good for you too.
We're going to attach some of these videos in the description of our exercise and our Zen Garden and some of the things that we've done. It's an effort every day to keep healthy physically and mentally as well.
Right. So you're not only staying physically healthy, but mental health is also important.
If you've enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up and consider subscribing to our channel. As we said, not only do we talk about health issues, we also talk about Social Security, retirement, traveling, gardening, decorating. And gardening is actually a very new hobby for us. We never did have many flowers, have we,
No,
Steve?
we sure didn't. So gardening is definitely taken over our life.
Well, that and other new hobbies, YouTube, and also traveling a little bit more.
Yep, that's true.
So this has gotten our minds going, trying to get good pictures. And I know we're still working on the quality of our videos because we're not professionals, but I've enjoyed trying to get good angles and unique shots. And we've also made canvas prints of a lot of
Right.
our favorite spots of where we've
Yeah,
gone. And that's fun to try to find one special spot every time we go somewhere and make one. We could just have one picture made.
that's true. And they usually look pretty nice. And we'll share them in future videos.
Until we see you again.
Take it easy.